kind of gray, very gloomy and cool. But good evening, and this is how I would like to welcome you to Sports Talk on Intel Sports. Today is Wednesday. Today is the 17th day of the month of July. And we're here once more to bring you exciting discussions on Liberian sports. Of course, sports in every sector, be it basketball, volleyball, table tennis, lawn tennis, kickball, swimming, whatever it is, we discuss it right here on Sports Talk. My name is Trojan. I'm the real Ronaldo. And tonight I'm here alongside
Christopher Walker is my name, and Trojan and myself, we are here this night or afternoon or morning, wheresoever you are following this program from, to serve you sporting wise. And we are always here on Intel Sports. And remember, it's Sports Talk, only on Intel Sports, serving you the best in sports, commentary, analysis, and information on Intel Sports.
very definitely. Welcome to you, Chris. And of course, something very big is happening over the weekend. It started last week, and of course, it will be culminating this weekend. I think we should let the cat out of the bag because everything is set so that you don't think we are a mean kind of people and say we had something and we kept it from you. You needed to be a part of. So, Chris, let me say congratulations as he is already, the traditional side is done. So, Chris has paid the dowry, and of course, he's married now. Yeah, legally by our law, he's married, but of course, he has to go through what we call the white wedding. So Chris is going to be officially tying the knot on the white wedding side this weekend. It's going to be on the 20th, and he's going to join the crowd of people whose fingers are fenced. And once that happens, it means hands off. He's off the market. Congratulations to you, Chris, and welcome to our world.
All right, it's a pleasure, and it's something every man who hope to have a family settle and find your missing ribs, because the good old book said every man should have a wife. And I'm proud of you that you have been in this for a very long time. I don't know how long, but you have been in
we
it
about 3 years now.
for a very long time. 3 years is a very long time, and it was a nice feeling on Saturday, and we be tying it up with the white wedding, like you just said, on Saturday, and it's nice to have that personality, and we can say to our fans, our followers, those who really follow us, that it's all set, and we are going for it, and with an open mind, and to be committed.
To be committed. Of course, yep, that's what you do when you decide, make up your mind to get married. You need to be and stay committed to the marriage. Of course, it's going to be on Saturday, like we said. If you want to be a part, you can contact us outside of here, and we'll tell you where we'll be on Saturday. But it's going to be a great day. All right, so what's coming up on today's edition of Sports Talk right here on Intel Sports? Well, it's been a long thing running, and it's still running. It is what we will call a perennial problem that have existed and persisted in the annals of Liberian football, especially at the level of our national teams. And I'm saying teams because it's just not the senior national team. It also has to do with the junior teams. All right. What exactly is that perennial problem that we will be discussing tonight? It has to do with salaries of coaches. Perennially, Liberia has always been plagued with the problem of owing coaches. From the days before we became sports journalists and started reporting sports, of course, this problem existed. And for today, for it to still be around, it means we need to talk about it and find out why. Why exactly is it the problem with the FA and the Ministry of Youth and Sports, or by extension, the government of Liberia, when it comes to paying our coaches? We will have some veterans with us, very experienced sports reporters, veterans who've been here for a very long time now, and they know about the situation. And so we'll be historicizing and then, of course, bringing it into the happenings of today so that we can find a solution for tomorrow that is going forward. So coming up tonight, we hope to be having the former Sports Writers Association president, Hilary Justin Kono. He's known as the legacy of the celebrated. That's one voice that has reported sports, of course, here in Liberia. And anytime you call the name Hilary Justin Kono, of course, everybody knows who you're talking about. So he's going to be here with us tonight on the program. Also coming up tonight, we will have Martina Brooks. Of course, she is a former vice president of the Sports Writers Association of Liberia, and she is a longtime queen of sports reporting in Liberia. Martina will join us, of course, via the telephone or the cell phone, because where she is, imagine she's there, but will try by all means to come on to talk about the issue. Also joining us is a man who people today know as Teacher Light, but of course, we all know him as Godsend, and of course, that's Abraham William. Abraham William will also form part of the panelists tonight to discuss the issue around the payment of salaries of coaches, or the problems associated with the payment of salaries of coaches. Joining us as well will be veteran Akosa Ike. He's somebody who has held a lot of folks, and some of them are now themselves veterans. Imagine. So I call him the super veteran, Akosa Ike. He's going to be one of the panelists tonight as well. And one of Liberia's finest. He's an editor, but of course, right now he teaches journalism, and he's not other but Julie Johnson. His actual, coach name is Coach
Mark Giuliano.
Mark Giuliano, the Italian coach. Mark Giuliano, Julie Johnson will also be joining us tonight. He's coming live in studio, of course, so we can have this discussion. So we have one of those veterans coming on tonight to discuss this very, very important issue, and we'll tell you why, the backdrop of this particular discussion. All right. So it stems from the fact that we are getting news of a threat by current national coach Mario Marinica to sort of step down or resign if his arrears are not paid. We'll talk about that in details, the threat, the number of days he has given, of course, what are his conditions to carry on, especially it comes at the back of Liberia traveling to Saudi Arabia to play a couple of friendlies in about less than 2 weeks' time. So we will talk about that. And we'll also be looking at results of the district league today. That's our tidbits we'll be going through before the main discussions. We'll talk about the results today, what's happening in the district league. And then there have been movement. Liberian players are on the move. Chris will give us the details of who are the players who've made the move, of course, and where exactly have they made the move. So we're taking a very, very short break. Chris is here. Trogan, the real Ronaldo, is here. a very short break. We come back, we discuss, the tidbits before going into our main discussion this evening. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Sports Talk right here on Intel Sports on this Wednesday. Beautiful weather. There's a kind of weather people experience in Europe and other places. No heat, just cool, But yet I heard, our technician, one of our technicians complaining how the place is very, very cold. And I'm like,
I think it's a fair weather.
Very fair weather.
You must be grateful that it's not hot.
It's not hot.
It's not really cold. And this is a fair weather. You should be happy for it. I don't know why, but it's individual difference. And you may like it cold, you may like it hot. I think this is fair for everyone. It gives you opportunity to go out and look for ends meet But
you don't get sweaty.
Once it's rainy, it's difficult. When it's hot, you sweat a lot, and you have to take in more water. But now you don't take in more water. But that's his.
Especially like people like us when it's
love
raining.
It like this, bro.
Yeah, because especially people like us, we are, members of the Anti-Umbrella Association. So we're not.
Trogan, it's one thing I usually say to people I don't love. Umbrella is always. I will always leave it back.
I'm very forgetful.
I will always leave it back. I prefer a jacket.
Remember.
I prefer a jacket with a hat. I can go out, but umbrella, it's just like a waste of money.
Jump. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like a waste of
money.
All
right, folks. Let's begin. Just a little bit of trying to get us set, to get us going right here on the show this evening. We'll start up with the District League. It's ongoing. It's, of course, it's still in the Zuna stage and not the knockout stage, meaning the round robin stage, and everybody's meeting everybody. There are 4 groups or 4 zones, if you may, and there are 17 districts in Montserrado County participating in the district league. And of course, today there were 2 matches. In those 2 matches, the results are up, and from what we are getting, it was a it was a 0-all draw in the first game. Um, the first game played, of course, between 2 districts. Of course, it was a draw when District 3 and District 4 drew 0-0, and then District 6, no, District 5 defeated District 6 by a goal to nil. So I heard James Tappe, the guy from Lofa County. Is he the one?
Yes.
From Lofa. James Tappe. Okay, so it was in fight District 5 that won. Okay, so we're getting it from our technician right here. All right, so by Friday, we'll bring you the whole, I'm sure by that time now, the group stage will be climaxing, and then we will have the full results here for you. But it's ongoing, it's very interesting, and the guys are discussing, the turnout, and it is good to tell you that, yep, it's a sizable turnout. And the reason we've always said is because people feel a part of the district, and so they turn out to cheer their district. I live in District 17. District 17 played, and they won their game on yesterday. But I can tell you, people traveled all the way from there, and the game was played in Pinsville.
No, not Pinsville. The game was played at the Antoinette
ATS,
Stadium.
but people traveled. Can you imagine the number of people that left District 17 to come and watch, of course, the game and cheer District 17 yesterday? And I was like, yeah, it's good. It's good for football. If we could just turn this thing around and people start to have the kind of love for, various club teams and all of that, it will be good. It will definitely be good. But Chris,
Mr. Ben, but Trojan, I think this district league just shows that we need to go back to the communities. We need to go back to the counties and see that you have ownership. The people of the district, the people of the counties need to have ownership of clubs. If they have ownership, they will identify with the clubs. So it shows that if you turn over the clubs, they would have to come to the game and you have more turnout. Another thing it shows in generating funds. You can go out to any companies to say, I am from District 10 United, and we have at least 5,000 fans that are bona fide. So it's a good league for the players because now the league is on. Now the league is on break. They use it for their own preseason. So it is good for them. It is good for the clubs. And it is good for Liberian football. There are people who do not have taste of the National League, but they have taste for the district league. So with this, people can say, I will come and start watching Trogan Kiazolu of this tough defender, Christopher Walker, who is playing for my district. Once he's playing for Mari Barrow, I'll come and see him. But it's a good league, and we must say, hats up to the Liberia Football Association for organizing this and putting the players in shape for the upcoming league season.
Yeah, definitely. There's a breaking news. Not so breaking, but reports are coming in that the gymnasium, SKD Sports Gymnasium, where the first division or where the basketball competition is taking place, has been rented out. I'm sorry I didn't call you beforehand, but we just want to Calvin Dix. A pleasant good evening to you, and this is Sports Talk on Intel Sports.
Yes, sir. Good evening. How are you doing?
Okay, we're okay, and thanks for picking up our call. We just want to confirm a story that has just popped up that the SKD Gymnasium, where you use, talking about the Liberia Basketball Association uses to play its league matches, have sort of been rented out, and you people went there today and you were surprised you could not have access to it. Could you just confirm or deny this report we are hearing?
All right. So it's kind of a complicated situation. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, yes, they have leased out the venue for 2 days, which is the 21st, which is Thursday. I'm sorry, the 18th, which is Thursday, and the 21st, which is Sunday. Issue being that their program is supposed to be from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. on both days. The surprising thing there was a stage erected. And after that stage is erected, then there will not be any movement from Thursday until after the last program on Sunday. This was obviously not the understanding of them leasing the place. But we're trying to work out modalities. I did get a call today from Deputy Minister Andy Kwame, who called apologizing for the mix-up in how the planning went. And we're trying to work through that as the time is moving on today, yes.
So what happens to the league in the interim while that is happening?
Well, there's a couple of things going on. One, the U18 national team is practicing in that gymnasium for our U18 preliminary tournament in Ivory Coast on the 29th of July, where both our U18 men and women's team are preparing for. So we had to make some adjustments and move them to the Metelco basketball court in Police Academy. Because we knew of the Thursday schedule, we scheduled no games for this Thursday. And we're now going to have to readjust the schedule for Friday and Saturday. And maybe Sunday, if we don't see that, it will be enough time to remove the stage before Sunday game time, which is about 3 o'clock on Sunday.
So it means all of the activities relative to the league between the time that the gymnasium is rented and even the days when the stage is mounted and before it is removed, all of those activities will be suspended.
Yeah, definitely. We will have to reschedule these games. It's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, like the minister said to me today, you know, their understanding that we all had at the time, there must have been some miscommunication. Their office was not involved in the planning with the Crusaders. So, you know, these kinds of things happen. We try to make sure that our stakeholders are aware that they know of the steps that is being taken right now.
Okay. All right. So we hope you get over that hurdle. But just tell us a bit about the preparation of the under-18 team preparing to participate in a zonal competition, I guess, in Ivory Coast. How is the preparation going?
So you know that Liberia, we have not participated in any international tournament for basketball in over 10 years. So as a federation, we're really excited. The youth, they're very excited, these kids. Our first tryout was about 4 Saturdays ago at the LTC court, where we had over 200 kids show.
Oh, hello. Orange informs you. It is his line, not my line. Yeah, not my line.
So I think the good thing is he has confirmed that the place has been rented out.
In the middle of the league. I mean, the ministry wants to raise extra funds.
Trogan, they use that place to raise money, but my thing is the communication between the ministry and
Okay, so he's back on. Let him just. Okay, we're sorry. Our connection problem. So go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So after that, a couple of weeks passed, and then we were able to trim down the roster to what FIBA is requiring. So we have 12 players on each team now. We have turned over our traveling budget over to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, which I know they have forwarded now to the Ministry of Finance for some allotment for the national team. But things are really, really, the spirits are high amongst the players. They're very excited. They understand the importance of this particular trip for basketball. They understand that they are the ones that have a second chance to show the world that Liberia is prepared to move forward on the international scene. So we're only hoping. We're calling on the chief patron of sports, Ambassador and President Joseph Neiman Boykai, to please make sure that the dream of these young people are realized, and that we'll be able to make this trip.
When is the trip?
The trip is, okay, so we're scheduled to leave Liberia on the 25th of July. The tournament actually starts on the 29th.
And how long? And how long are you going to be out there for?
It runs from the 29th to the 5th of August.
Oh, that's about a week or so. And
yes.
If we can ask, how much is the budget?
Each team is about 39.5, so it came up to about $81,000.
And what sort of picture are you getting? What sort of light are you seeing coming from the government's end? Talking about is it blinking bright, or is it somehow gloomy?
Well, we are excited because it's around the 26th period. So I know that the ministry is doing very much. They're working very hard in getting allotments out for all the different programs that are going on for the 26th for this holiday season. We pray that they will see the need, that the youth need to be represented out there to show their talents. It's been 10 years. Some kids have already passed this, and they have retired from playing basketball. So we hope that this will not happen to this group of kids. These kids are paying their own way to practice, to and from practice. They are practicing in their own T-shirts, their own sneakers. We have gotten no support yet from any government. And you know that the national team belongs to the government of Liberia, even though that the LBA is the facilitator, but the team belongs to the government. So all funding for the national team comes from the Republic of Liberia.
Wow. Okay. We hope to follow up on it. We want to say thanks a lot for just picking us up with no notice at all.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it anytime.
All right. Thanks a lot, Calvin Dix. He is the Secretary General of basketball in Liberia. So you heard it. The team is training in their own kits, paying their own way. But meanwhile, they're training for the country, to represent the country.
It's a shame, Trogan. I would say it's a shame that we will have people going out to represent our country and we cannot cater to them. Which kind of government is this? What kind of Ministry of Youth and Sports we have? Yes, one would say you had a footballing president or a sporting president. He did not do this, and people want to put this on Joseph Boyka, the chief patron of sports. But I think when people are serving the country, they must be compensated. They must be taken care of. You cannot have the kids paying their own way to go and train, and the federation is struggling with just around 30,000+ to take the team to Ivory Coast.
I think they say 80,000.
Yes, 30,000 each one of the team. We have, I think, on 17 and on 20 or 18. But I think it's a shame we have people in the house. They are crying for 45,000 car. So why will you do this to the young kids? Well, this is the passion. They could make name for Liberia in the future. And the fact is, our national team.
the fact is, it's been almost 10 years or 10 years or so, and we've not played international
8 to
basketball
6
in
years.
Liberia. Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time, and I hope that the ministry will work with the finance ministry. That's the youth and sports. We work with the finance ministry to see how best our basketball can go out there. We're talking about Olympics, which is just kicking off on the 26th.
They are in a similar situation.
The LNOC is still running behind their money, and all of that. I heard a football team, but we'll talk more about football, is expected to go to Saudi Arabia for a friendly, but that is maybe a bit of different case. But we'll talk more about that. But that's the situation with Liberia. Okay, let's quickly talk about, before we start bringing on our panelists, let's quickly talk about the kids who have left the shores of Liberia for, you want to say, greener pastures.
Yes, I think they are going for greener pasture. They are going to improve their career, and it's something that is happening now gradually. We see kids leaving Liberia for Europe. Now, this big news, Maurice Jegbe Conan of FC Gao.
Oh, I love that kid.
For love that kid. 11, and King Emmanuel Sie are currently being signed for an undisclosed fee. We don't know the length of the contract. And that's a South African top flag club, TS Galaxy, in the South African Premier League. The last time we had a Liberian play in that league, he dominated that league for years, and he is a legend in that country, Anthony Snotty Lamford. So to see these kids going to TS Galaxy, it's a good news. You saw Emmanuel Kingsie the last season. He played for Watanga FC, helped them to win the league, and also he was the top goal scorer. He is currently a candidate for the MVP in the just ended National League. So having them there, I think it's a great thing for our Liberian football, mainly youth football. Divantier just made his debut, I think, yesterday in Sweden for Hammer Bay.
He played 6 minutes. Yeah. I mean, after waiting all that while, he comes back and plays 6 minutes.
Trogan, European football, organized African football.
That's a start.
It's not like Liberia, where you have a player just come from injury or just joining a team. Even if you train with the team for 15 months, you will not just get a starting position. They started with 6 minutes, 10, 15, 20.
Feeding him into the
team. Need to have that gradual process within the team. If you don't have it, you cannot just go into the team and break through. This is where some players feel so frustrated. I come from a big country. While we are sitting on the bench, you have to take your time to get inaugurated into the team. And I think it's what Hamabe doing. Hamabe will not come Liberia and take one kid from a second division club and take him to the first team and feel he cannot be an asset to them.
By them even signing him, waiting all that while for him to turn 18.
Yes.
They saw his potential. They know that he's got qualities, and of course, yes, these kids, like you were even seeing with Adagula of Real Madrid, they don't want to pressure you. They don't want to, so they will bring you in little by little until you start to.
And we hope our guy, I'm seeing DJ Sporting is on. We hope he can come on.
Yeah.
We can just share the live with him.
Yeah, I'll send him the link, and DJ Sporting can come on.
He can come
on.
We need to talk.
Abraham, we are waiting for you as well. But
just before they come on, we can start off.
Yeah, but no, before we start
our players, like you're saying.
Before we start up, we're still on this, talking about, especially Emmanuel C. Now he has left Watanga. Watanga is preparing for CAF. For me, I think at this particular time, it's good for him, but it's certainly not good for Watanga. He's been, throughout the season, the live wire for Watanga. We saw during the course of the league, there was a period he left for national youth duty.
He went on trial at
When
a
he
certain
went,
point in time.
and then
It was difficult for Watanga
was struggling.
to score 2 goals in a game. It was difficult in his absence.
He came back, and of course, Watanga started flowing, and of course, they went all the way to win the championship. Now that they're going for their second spell in the Continent Elite Club Championship, and CA is now with another team. I think that's a gap. No matter how you look at it,
it's a gap, but Dawari,
it's good for the player, like I said.
But Dawari in the purview of Watanga, because he is not the personal property of Watanga. He went on loan for Ria Munja. So Ria Munja had the final say in this. It's not about Watanga anymore.
Wow. And Watanga does not have the box to
keep him.
To keep it.
He wants to play, even if Watanga had the boss, he wants to play it from television, want to say. He wants to play in the South African Premier League.
But of course, playing in the CAF Champions League,
how far do you think a Liberian club will go? That's a big stage. Go and play a game against AC Algiers from Algeria. How far? Watanga has not crossed the first round of CAF competition. So how far? So he looked to say, yes, play in the CAF competition. How much do I get from Watanga for playing in this CAF competition? He looked at that, and he looked at going to play in the South African Premier League. Even if he played just a season, and you look at his earning and the exposure he will get, and that publicity that comes with it, I think
one of our panelists is rather calling Abraham William. Maybe I could just send you. I just sent you the link. You could just click on it. You come on WhatsApp. The guys will bring you in the studio. Just click on that link. All right. Okay, I think it's on. Maybe. Oh gosh. Well, let's just do this.
Okay, quick. Abraham William is on now.
Maybe it's on. Okay, so Abraham Godson William is now on with us.
One of Liberia's finest commentators in modern time.
They made a striker as well.
Oh, he's a good striker. That's why for each time AB is coming for game, Trogan don't come for game.
Oh, come on.
AB will always put Trogan.
I'm more prolific than
AB.
Good evening.
How you doing, Trojan? And how you doing there, Honorable VP? How's everything?
I'm doing good.
No, we're talking about who is more prolific between you and I. I'm the real Ronaldo. You are a good striker, but you will admit that I'm more prolific.
Well, he's God sent, so he always saving swine.
I always love to give people the benefit of the doubt. But if we were to have election now, my vote plus Chris' vote, I beat you. But let me just give you the benefit of the doubt that you are more prolific.
Okay, Amy, how have you been, my brother?
I've been doing so fine. And I came on early. And I've been in a bar because I have to prepare for my program that starts at 8 o'clock. I've been there ever since. I've been listening to all the conversations.
And we are sorry. We're sorry we had to have. Okay, but
20 minutes, 90 minutes is hard to have your expert opinion.
No, he has a program. So
so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
8 o'clock his program come on. So if you can have him for 20, 15 minutes, it's not bad to have an expert opinion or say on this.
So Ebi, nice having you talking sports once more. I know it's been a while since you talked sports.
When the last time you talked sports?
The last time I ever talked sports, it was sometimes back in 2013.
Jesus.
But I did a couple of sports commentaries in 2014 when my county, Grand Bassa County, won the national county sports meet.
Oh, Lord.
I did a couple of commentaries, but in terms of these kind of discussions and things,
Okay.
But I did commentaries along the line, and I'll always be in touch.
All right, that's great. Now, Ebi, our discussion centers around this perennial issue about government and national team coaches not being paid. You are someone who we will refer to as a veteran in sports reporting. You've been around. You have experience where our national team coaches, especially local coaches, will suffer before they get paid after they sign contract. Thank God you are now an attorney. You know how these things work. So tell us, how is this problem? How deep is this problem with Liberia and the coaches not paying the coaches? This is coming about because our current coach, Mario Marinica, has, according to sources, written the LFA saying that he gives them 15 days ultimatum to pay him the 2 months they are owing him, and pay him an additional 2 months in his account so that he can continue. So anything short of that, after the 15 days, according to our sources, he will be resigning. He will step down as national team coach. Now, we want you to come out from history. How has this problem existed?
Well, Trojan, and it's good that you're bringing this up. This problem is not only unique to football, but this is apparently a Liberian thing. And the respect for labor in this country is not there. Because every labor relation one creates, it leads to a contract. So we have two kinds of contracts. We have indefinite and we have a definite contract. The definite contract is the one Mario is occupying currently. And players, most of our players, they sign definite contracts, meaning there's a duration of your contract, renewable based upon terms and conditions. So those things are workable. Now, when it comes to how people treat people in this place, in this country, even definite or indefinite contract, it's not just unique to football. But this is how people don't respect labor. People don't respect labor in this country. It has been an age-old thing. And it's not only unique to football. So I would just like to say, there is a Liberian thing. Can you imagine? Coaches have always had their own problems. If you were to even check some of our administrative staff who have worked with the national team before, in fact, Patricia Moore, who have been one of the persons, in fact, she's working with Red Cross now, the LFA contracted her, and it was during the abilities administration or so forth here and there. And she had some complications, things didn't work. Even up to now, she has to take the matter to the labor court, and issues are there. The judge who is there now, and Judge Colley is trying to even intervene in some of these things. So most people will face these problems all of the time. And this is bad for our country. This is bad for our country. We have always had these things, not only with the coaches, but even players themselves have suffered these things. Where people will use them, you sign document with people. You tell them that we are affixing our signatures and telling them that this is XYZ, you will be able to earn as soon as so, this is what is supposed to happen. In no time, they will back off from that contract, their own signature, and you'll be chasing them until you say, do anything you want to do. And the reason some of these things happen in this country because there are no penalties for people breaching contracts. But every contract that is breached, there are consequences. The consequential effects are not applicable in our country, or maybe not enforceable. That's why people do these kind of things. You can't contract a person, and there's a time for you to settle them, and you are not even talking to them. You are not telling them anything as to why the delay. You are not telling them anything, but the man is performing. Even if the man had not even performed, there are terms and conditions of the contract. You still have to settle him as per the contract. If you are not satisfied with him, you can pay him off. You can't be owing him, especially on this coach who had given us one of the greatest feats of recent time in terms of our ranking in FIFA or so forth here and there. There is a man who does not deserve this. But the only reason you will see this happening because it's an age-old thing. And Liberian people, they have total disregard, not only for foreigners, but even for their own locals. They have no regard for them. Most of our former staff, administrative staff, the LFA still owe them today. The national team still owe some of them today. Some of them have died with the debts. The country owed them, they died after all the sacrifices they made. There's a bad thing for our country. I'm not going to speak for him because he's a foreigner or so forth. No, I don't want to speak to that. But I want to say this speaks, to our level of disregard or disrespect for human services that they render for our country, bad labor practices. These are the kind of things that are going on in this country. And I think Mario is just one of those persons who's being hauled into our terrible and human relations record when it comes to labor practices, our bad labor practices in this country. He's just being affected by that. And we can only call on the government to change this. It's not only about one government after another. Like I said, it's an age-old thing. How can we transition from this? How can we change from
Yeah,
this?
how can we transition? Because this is a problem. We had a coach, in fact, taking Liberia to FIFA before he was even paid.
Yeah, Roberto Landi.
Roberto Landi.
Yeah, Roberto Landi. I remember that.
So,
Roberto Landi had to
I mean,
personally drag us to FIFA to tell us to pay. That's been irresponsible and reckless as a country.
Is it Cousin, I got you clear. Is it that the government or the FA do not value these coaches? This is why always we find ourselves in this position with coaches and whatsoever. Keita left on the same thing.
And Keita is still being old.
He's been old. Butler had to stand his ground that he will not leave Liberia until the FA paid him, and he got paid. Recently, the Minister of Youth and Sports had problem with the contract signed by the FA with the coach, saying the government were in the know of this contract. So is it that there is a lack of coordination between the FA and the government?
So if by parity of that, I don't want to, by parity of what you said, is the reason behind whatever the national government is doing, then I'll tell you for sure it is no reason. You see, people should understand this. Ko Bangalu is a lawyer. Ko Bangalu is a lawyer. The LFA has a legal department down there. And it is good that Ko Bangalu himself understands the law. So let's agree. The LFA controls the technical arm of the Liberia Football Association. The LFA is the one that's supposed to appraise the national team coaches with the qualification of that appraiser by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So the LFA works for and with the Ministry of Youth and Sports when it comes to the management of the national team. They are there to work it out because the national team that is funding, the Ministry of Youth and Sport that is funding the national team. All right. So let's agree that Mario came in and the Liberia Football Association had a contractual relation with Mario. Who are the signatories to that contract? Was government not represented in affecting their signature to that contract? Or normally, does it happen that the Liberia Football Association will have to sign such a contract? Okay, let's agree that the Liberia Football Association unilaterally took that decision. But the government of Liberia sat there and Mario started working. Who benefits from Mario's work? It's not the Liberia Football Association. It's not the Liberia Football Association. To the extent that, there is a contract doctrine that states that, in fact, they call it the theory. The theory is that implied, in fact, contract. You don't have to look. If I walk up to your studio there and I introduce myself that I'm here on Intel Sports as one of the producers and presenters assigned and employed with Intel Sports, then your sweatshirt puts me on camera. I work for complete 1 month. Then your management came at the end of the 1 month and decided to say, I want my money. Then the management said, hey, we're not aware of that. But you sat down there, your sweatshirt put me on when I'm introducing myself as somebody working with you. And I'm the producer. I am the one who presenting the show. Your sweatshirt, who is responsible to put me on, is putting me on. You sat down as a management team. You allow me to work for 1 month. That's a contract. I don't have to sign paper with you. You benefited from my work. So the work that Mario did, so that's not an issue. Like I said, it's an age-old thing that we always have. Ko Bangalu should understand that. And whether the LFA did what and they didn't know about what it is, they have all right to have spoken, to have looked at the terms. Because for the fact that Mario took on the first game, the government who's going to be paying this money is supposed to have come to their saying, on one condition is this man becoming our coach. Can we see the paper? Can we see the document? And I want to say, look, when they tell you say silent may concern, it's contract-related theory. Silent. If you're supposed to act and you are under obligation to act, you have a fiduciary duty to act and you fail not to act, and then you benefited from somebody's action as a result of your silence, it is construed as a consent. And that consent will be construed as a contract that is signed as though your signature was attached. So all of those things you're talking about is good that you even brought it up, but that can be the reason. Mario is old. If he takes Liberia anywhere, which of course I would not like to see happen for the second time, he has to be paid. It doesn't matter. LFA gives, the Ministry of Youth and Sport gives the LFA the technical responsibility to vet coaches. They did that. And if they vetted, they didn't even reach to the Ministry of Youth and Sport, but the Ministry of Youth and Sport property, which of course is the national team, is being managed by this coach over the period. The ministry should know that they are contracted. They are tied to that contract by that. There's no excuse in that. Ko Bagalu understands that. He knows it well.
Now, Abi, how about this issue of people or the government? I mean, talking about governments from time to time.
Welcome, friend.
Okay, we are Efrain. Good evening and welcome to you from Sweden. We hope you're doing great. But we'll come to you very shortly, we are. Is it the fact that football or sports for that matter, because we just spoke with the basketball people and they are going through almost similar thing. We had the National Olympic team that is supposed to be going to represent Liberia. They're going through similar thing. I mean, is it that sports, and since we're talking about football here, is it that it is overlooked and it is not seen as one of the priority that, you know, can develop our country? Is it why it is always treated in this way?
You know, I think us as Liberians, we have a very archaic ball for sports in this country. Why other countries are using sports? Go on the days, you know, during those days when you saw our BB people then invest in IE and Barrow at the time, they saw footballers at that time as people who had no future, and they never had anything to play in terms of what it is. It was meant just for their recreation and entertainment purpose. So if they came from work, they looked for something to just entertain them. So they saw football as just mere entertainment to just ease away their stress. That's why you could see them leave their workplaces. They will employ some of these young people to just come and then they do that. That was it then. We haven't come to terms to understand that football is an industry. It has transitioned from just mere recreation or maybe entertainment or so forth. It has transitioned to an industry that has the capacity to boost an economy. Why you think countries are bidding for hosting rights? Why you think they host? You think they host because they want for people to go entertain in their country? You think that's what they do it for? You think why countries will even verge to see to it that they have friendly matches with top-notch players going to their country? You think that's just for their fans to see Ronaldo or Messi? You know the economic boost that gives their country? You know what that means? Football is an industry, and despite being just an industry that has some economic dividends, it has some social dividends that could take away stress away from government, where young people who are supposed to be the engine of growth, and in the absence of jobs in this country, you could employ a lot of young people and take them off these social deviances that you see in the communities. Because these people are under the guardian of coaches, they have been monitored, their activities have been monitored. The football ACL monitor activities of players. So no player will even like to love the game and then you take in drugs because they have tests that they can do to know about drugs. So you will not find it easy that a footballer will be involved into drug activities because he knows that anytime a random testing can be done and they can find a substance. So people are disciplined and trained to that. And when these guys are trained to that, who benefits from it? It's the country. But people still see these things and say, look, hey, man, just go play. We'll go see them, they just play. That's what it is. So nobody has respect for that. That's why you see basketball is not growing, football is not growing. You see people look at other disciplines in this country. I saw the SWA had to come up with a damning press statement about the recent budget, the way they try to. How will you treat people like that? The way you choose to go to office and that's your life. This man chooses to go and play football. You're not playing there for just mere entertainment. This man is playing, that's his life. And the worst thing about that is that the risks involved with football, that's why you see they spend the millions. Because it has a life-threatening effect on the football field. That's why they spend the millions. That's why people spend millions on players. So you and myself, we are working here, good, we can go to work and whatever it is. We're not playing football. But let me just go on the football field tomorrow. You hit me my fourth break. I'm incapacitated to do certain job outside of football. And it's because of that you have to pay me the millions. That's what they pay these guys. There's risk involved in it. They're not just paying them because they say they want to waste money on football. No. Your whole life is everything in there. Anything can happen to you, you are finished for life. You'll never find yourself capable.
Gosen,
yeah.
I know you have to go.
Yeah.
With this situation with Mario Maronika, we have African Cup of Nations qualifier coming up in September. We have friendly to take on Saudi Arabia later this month or next month. What effect would this have on our national team that have claimed 10 places on the FIFA ranking because of Mario job he has done over the past month? What effect would this have on our?
And let me just come in before you answered. Mario, as Chris has said, has done well so far in his first 4 games, although people will say he didn't play competitive size, but he has done well. What signal, including what Chris asked, what signal was this sent to another coach who is following and is seeing how Mario is being treated? He has, if not, arguably the least salary when it comes to coaches anywhere in the world. If anybody sees him being treated in this form and manner, he is the one paying his backroom staff. You pay him, he pay his people. And it is seeing him going through this. What interest would any professional coach have to come to Liberia and say, I want to coach the national team of Liberia?
You are even going far. Why are you even thinking about a coach? What effect will it have on the very players who are supposed to play on the field? These players, they are seeing that their boss is not being paid. What sacrifice RAB, who play for so-and-so club team in Europe and getting my lay money? What sacrifice will I want to make when a man who is my boss is being treated in this manner? It has a huge psychological effect. It has a serious psychological effect. You can't be owing the man boss. The coach is not happy. You think the players will be happy? Look at what happened to the legs of Ben Tiklo. They had they were abandoned. But Nangwe, there. Thank God Ifri is right here. And of course, that's up to Ifri long time. Ifri and they are right here. When we were active on the field and of course covering, these were times that we saw these guys went through the turbulent times in their lives. Yet the country could not turn to them. There's Mario right here. You think the players sitting there, they're not reading? You think they will come the areas they're supposed to stretch to score, go for Liberia? You think they will stretch there? If Mario can be chasing them here for his money, it has a significant impact not on other coaches who may come in. You think Liberians care about other coaches that will come in and Roberto Ladi carry or Mario's taking? But what impact will they have on our players, especially the international players? Because for the local ones, they are used to it. That's life. With their club teams, they can own it, they will still go play because they want to just play. But I talk about these guys who are depending on club football internationally as their source of revenue. What a small thing happened to them? Mario here chasing the government to pay. That is what it is. What happens to them if there was a damage on the field in relation to the game they play? They are thinking about that as well. You think they're calculating it? That is where we start failing as a team. That is where we start failing as a country. When these small complaints are coming, when one player on the national team who play is complaining to the national team, oh, I went to the ministry that they want to see me, their friend, and hearing it. It has an effect on the team. That man may not be somebody that you want again as a country, but that statement, that message that guy is sending across, it discourages other people. It don't allow other people to put their time, the sacrifice, and everything that is needed for the country. So that's a significant impact it has. And they have to really settle this and tell us the reason why they've been holding on to it so that they can have this thing done and then we move on with our lives. But I think it has a significant impact, both local and international, but I think significantly international, it has a significant impact and a negative impact and on our performances that are expected, especially in relation to our games to be played. And I think we'll have an adverse impact on them. And it's not too good for our country.
Okay, finally, so you can go to your show. Finally, please. Yeah. Can we change from this? Can we turn the page? Can we now start to see these things as imperative, very important, that we must meet up with our obligations and we sign contracts? Can we get away from the old ways we were doing it? Is it possible? Can we do it?
Well, it depends on the people in charge. You see, there are deceptions that people play, especially when they are not in the firing line. They pretend as if they were to be confronted with the existing reality, they will solve the problem. That's the deception of football. People will come there and do X, Y, Z. We can change it. That is, if we want to put our country first above ourselves, we can change it. And I have asked myself questions over the period. Honorability administration, in fact, when Mapu Riches was the Minister of Youth and Sports then under the previous administration, Ellen Johnson, Salif, and so forth, the question was, do we implore local coaches to take out the national team? Is there our problem with the local coaches be able to serve as motivation to the other players? And we are not looking for just ordinary local players. We are looking for local coaches who demand respect from these players who are growing up. We employ all of that strategy, it didn't work. We decided to say, okay, let us transition to bringing in foreign coaches. We tried those strategies, it didn't work. That is where we are now. Some of us who have been sports analysts, and we were trying our best to now understand that I think this thing is about attitude problem than the issue. The problem about football in this country is not administrative, because at that time now we have come to the conclusion. The ability administration came in. So we said the 4 basic areas of football: the technical, the administrative, the spectators, and the players component. Now, the administrative component is where the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they look for the money, they do everything with it, give it to the national team. That's the administrative component. The technical component is what the LFA supervises. Now, so that is where the coaches come in to deal with those aspects. Then we go to the players component. The players component has to do with the players themselves. What are they thinking? What do they want to do? When all of those supports are coming in, the administrative in tight, the technical is in tight, then we come to the players component and start looking for where do we find the problem. Then, because it is the players component with all these things that can attract the spectators component. That's what attracts the spectators. So the spectators component, we can't look at it now until we can see that the players component, the technical component, and the administrative components are in place. When those 3 are in place, then you will see the spectators component start coming in. We have tried our best to have understood to place the blame at the players and say, look, these players are not marketable. They are not attractive for the spectators component to be fulfilled. We have always thought it that way. But we can't be thinking it that way when there are underlying factors that have the ability to undermine these players' performances. How do we do that? At least if you say the country is giving everything, then we can blame it on the players. But it's just too difficult. It's just too difficult to just tell which one of the components. But for now, with this situation we are discussing now, I think the administrative component will have to stand very strong and make sure that they live up to contracts at all levels, both at club level and national team level. They live up to these contracts so that our game will grow. You will not believe it, Trojan. The very things that happen down there that were affecting us at the national stage here. When you see some of our local players performing the way they perform, because the way their club presidents treat them, the way people treat them at their playing levels, those are the kind of things. And before I take leave of you, I remember it was in 2013, 14 something. Yeah, when we went to Nigeria to play, where they brushed us aside 6 something in Calabar.
When you wrote the
6-1.
The army play?
Yeah, they were crying. I will come and pray that day. It was on that trip that indeed I got to know. In fact, I went in each one of those players' room. And I talked to Nathaniel Shemon, the rest of the other guys. I said, those of you I know, I'm asking you saw DSTV here, right? Your country may not have done it for you, but there is an opportunity for you to market yourself and then go find better contracts out there. The world is going to be watching. And I begin to talk to them one, for them to go and market themselves. I say your country may not care about you. They may be giving you peanuts. There's an opportunity for you to go beyond that peanut. There is a platform you have. Make use of this platform to make yourself valuable and marketable, that your national team will be crying for you to come and play for them. There is an opportunity. Again, we wasted that. So, these are things that it's too pitiful. And even if I was stay active, if anybody had called me and say, hey, you travel with national team, I say, I'm not going again with the frustration too much. I've seen frustration. I've been enough. I can't travel with them again. We'll just hope for the best now.
Okay, AB. Want to say thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks a million for picking up your time. You got to go do your show now. Yeah, sure. But want to say thank you. And please, we'll still call on you to come on this show. Yeah. So thanks a lot, AB. Okay, all right. So Abraham Gosden-Williams has been here with us this evening on the show. We are in friend. Let's say welcome to you. We'll call Akosa Ike and then also Martina Brooks. We will try to call her so that we can hear from her too. So welcome.
What's up, my man? What's going on here to everybody, you know?
Well, we're okay. We're just discussing the situation. Mario Marinica, according to reports, have threatened
Ultimatum.
to resign with an ultimatum, 15 days ultimatum for his arrears to be paid, and then 2 months addition paid into his account so that he can be able to take care of himself and his backroom staff, or else he might just quit.
But you surprised? I'll ask you, you surprised?
It's surprising. It's surprising. They want to hold Mario with all of the results.
The first thing you need to ask the LFA that before they sign the contract, okay, we like Abraham said, we need to change this whole approach. For example, if I go to the movie today and I use my transportation to go home, my transport money, fare to go home, I bought popcorn and I walk home. The next day, if I can buy my bus ticket before going to the movie to save myself from walking home, I will do it. So I just learned from my mistake. We just need to learn. The next time the LFA need to tell the government, listen, before we sign any coach, you need to put 12 months salary in the bank. Need to be in the bank. Put it in the bank. So we will not run into this problem because we are not celebrating the biggest jump on FIFA ranking in the entire world. Liberia, we made the biggest jump. Something we need to utilize, something we need to capitalize on. Big morale, big motivation ahead of our game in, I think, September. Now the coach, all the players from the game with, I think, what's the country we won in Morocco? They all them that the game appearance. Yeah, the game appearance. All them, and Liberia all hotel in Morocco, and Liberia all a FIFA agent. Liberia all a FIFA agent. And the guy told me straight up, Liberia, I wash my hands. So I want to know, we need to listen, sit down, ask ourselves, what's the best approach? The best approach, find money before you hire a coach. Let's say Alfonso David, if Real Madrid signs him today, his 5-year salary in the bank. European teams, they don't sign you and go look for money. They look for money before they sign you. So simple. Every time we're running one problem over and over. We need to find a solution, and that solution need to start with us. LFA, government, we will not hire the coach until you can give us 1 year salary. We want to pay him $5,000 per month. 1 year salary is $60,000. Can we put this money in the bank? Bring in that coach. Then at the end of the day, zero problem. The coach is smart. The coach will demand upfront payment because you treated him, mistreated him, spent 3 months in Liberia, owe him. I think we need to wake up and there's something not right somewhere. I think we need to find it and make the right, make the right decision and help.
Do you think we are ready for football with all of these happening in our footballing cycle? Players will complain, coaches coming and complaining, LFA themselves complaining that government is not giving that support they really need, even though support comes, but the time they come in, it's not the time they really need it. You have to go through all of these stress before you can get money. Do you think we are ready for football? Should we continue on this path?
Change of attitude, change of mentality. Liberians, we love football, but listen, when I say this, people tell me, oh man, you've been very, very rude, but Liberia, we don't understand what is football. We need to sit down and ask ourselves, what is football? What is a football project? How to develop a football project? If we want to get to the World Cup, let's say we want to get to the World Cup 2028, we need to sit down and ask ourselves how many test games we need, maybe 20. let's put a price on each game, maybe a cost of 25,000 per game. So we calculate 200 games or 50 games times 25,000, 25,000 times 250 games,
All right.
50 games, and then we go in for that money.
Okay.
Put that
I know
money
you're
as-
in flight. Somebody has just called on the line, so you will continue. Martina Brooks, she's on the line, and she is also a veteran. So are you. But she's on the line, and she's going to also give us her thoughts on this particular issue we're discussing. Martina, we want to say good evening to you and welcome to Sports Talk on Intel Sports.
Good evening, children, and good evening, Chris. I'm not sure who else is there because I'm out of town. I've not really been following, but good evening to everyone.
Okay, so we're discussing tonight this issue of Liberia always indebted to its coaches. From time past to today, where we have Mario Marinica now threatening to quit the job if his wages are not paid. Martina, why do we continue, even when the time you were active, why do we continue up to today having such a problem?
Well, I think this has been an OH problem, and I really don't know how our priorities are set when it comes to sports in this country. This is something that we talked about when we were into sports reporting. Surprisingly, it's still happening. And I am not sure as to what sports authorities, including that of the LFA and the government, are doing to ensure that this issue is, sorted out. And after so many years, it's still happening, and it's not unique to a particular leadership. Nobody will want to say, "Oh, it's only happening during Mustafa Raji's time." It has always happened, and I really don't know how the discussion has been going tonight. But this is not only limited to football; it has happened to with other sports. It's just that we focus our attention mostly on football. That's why we tend to bring these things to the limelight. But I think it has been an age-old problem. And I don't know as to whether the sports administrators are doing anything to resolve it, especially when it comes to hiring foreign coaches. Children is a different thing when I bring in somebody from outside, and it's another thing when I bring you children that I know. So I think we should plan well, set our priorities right. Every year, I didn't attend a congress, but I think the latest congress of the LFA had to do with budgeting, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm very sure the budget is inclusive of everything. So what happens when you set your budget, including salaries, payment, which has to do even with the coaches, and this has been ongoing. It's not the first time is it the second or third time that this is happening? Before we had this coach, we had Ansu Keita, who also had a similar issue. He was being paid, I think, 10,000 or a little more or less. He too had the same issue. And now we're having this issue with this coach. We had an issue with one of the foreign coaches before, and even with our local coaches.
Martina,
so it's not something that is just happening now.
Martina, what do you think has been the consequences on the sort of results we got in the past, and how do you think this is going to affect us as we don't seem to change?
Well, if we don't change, it's going to affect us, because the thing is, children, even you, if you hire someone and you're not treating the person right when it comes to meeting their needs on time, they will not give you their best. It's not just about coach. Even you as children, let's assume you hire a horse help and for 2-3 months you are not paying our house help, you don't expect your house to be clean all of the time. How does that person feed? How do they take care of their family? So I think the LFA and the Ministry of Youth and Sports should sit and see how bad this thing can be resolved, because it has been going on for years. Like I said earlier, it is not the first time, not the second time. We're just dealing with the other one we asked the other day, and then we hire a new coach, hoping that things will improve. And most times we hire the coaches, we give them our word that we'll pay you this amount, will ensure you have housing, you have cars, you have this, you have that. And the person comes to the job with so many expectations. So if we're not meeting it, and then at the end of the day, you want so much more from the person, it's not going to be possible. You see, most times I tell people, you see, these things, they're just like how people do love affair. I tell people, when you take care of your partner gives everything. That's how it is with employees. So you take care of them, they provide the services, and then you in return take care of them. If you are not doing it, how can they be satisfied enough to give you the results you need? We talk about, Lusa not performing this and that, but what happens to you as the administrator? What are you doing to ensure that these things work? So
Okay.
it has been an issue problem.
Okay, so
I think
finally,
we just need to seek a way forward.
okay, finally, Martina, before we let you go, maybe, yes, talking about the way forward, how do we change this now? I mean, what do we put in place to make sure that these things are not repeated? We don't come back here on a show like this to be discussing again how coaches are not being paid.
Let's set our priorities right. Let's have a conversation with those that are, involved, those that are affected. Let's set our priorities right. Let's see how best we can offer, coaches what we are able to afford. Don't just give the juicy offer when you know you cannot afford it. So let's sit down, the LFA, the youth and sports. Let's see about the budget. Let's see what we can do to ensure that the money we need to run football, is brought forth. Let's, liaise with our lawmakers and see ahead of the budget what can be done to increase the sports budget, especially for football, because it's the most followed. And let's prioritize, paying our coaches on time, making sure they are okay. So in return, if they do not give us the kind of result that they have been paid for, then we take the needed action instead of just, sitting and saying, okay, these people wanted to do this, but we have not played our part. They need to sit down and see how best before going to hire a new coach. Make sure you already have what you think you can afford. Don't just call a figure because you want to entice people with, figure or entice them with money. Make sure you have that. Make sure it's in your budget. Make sure you are able to raise that money to pay the person for the number of months or years you are hiring that person for, and put their feet to the fire to ensure that what you are being paid for, you are able to offer the service.
Martina,
Okay, let's ask a question.
Just before you go, do you think this situation? Do you think?
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Do you think this situation with Liberia holding coaches and with this Mario situation, do you think it is the cause of the performance we have had over the period of time where we are being considered as did-well country in football?
Chris, that question, I wanted to say, because Mario just took over the senior national team. We have had this issue for years. We have the issue where the national team has not been performing as per, to the expectations of the fans. We have had this issue for a very long time. We also have the issue where coaches have not been paid what they are due. They have not been paid on time. All of that. So it's not unique. It's not unique to Mario. It's not unique to...
No, I'm saying Liberia, our country, our performances over the past time. Is it because of...
It also plays a key role, Chris. Like I said earlier, if you want someone to offer service, you already promised them what you're going to offer. If they are not getting it, how can you keep their feet to the fire? How can somebody render their service when they are not satisfied?
Is it the best approach Mario is taking?
It's not the best approach because Mario is considered a professional, and he should do this, at a very professional level. And these are some of the issues that happens in a professional scene. People expect and say, "Oh, this person should know better. This person should go high level of professionalism." By the end of the day, the guy has left his country to come and work. He has a family to take care of. He's in a foreign country. He has to take care of himself, and according to the arrangement, he has other staff to take care of. You don't know behind the scenes the kind of pressure he has to endure. So I think we should find a solution to this problem, because it's not unique to Mario alone. Even if we pay him all his money today and relieve him of his duties, we bring the next person, it's going to happen if we are not prepared.
Okay.
Thank you, the Queen of the Sports Writers Association of Liberia. Continue to hold that title.
Thank you so much for having me on, and good night from Bullwater site.
Wow.
We're working for our country now.
All right. Collecting some lawful revenue.
Thanks a lot, Martina. Let's go back to Wia. We still have one more person to talk to. That's Akosa Ike. But Wia, you heard from Martina there.
Yeah, children, like I said, Liberia, we need to stop hiring foreign coaches.
We need to stop hiring foreign coaches, but even the local coaches, I mean,
Yes.
Nathaniel Simon, George Chipu, the likes of Kopo Sana, they have all been owed by the FA for over
because when you bring in a foreign coach, the payment is very high.
I'm sorry. We'll come back. I'm very, very sorry. Akosa Ike is now on. He also has his thoughts on this particular issue. So let's take him. Akosa Ike, the veteran. Good evening, quickly.
Okay, Trojan. Actually, I'm taken aback that at a time where countries all over the world use sports, particularly football, to make the citizens and foreign residents happy, that Liberia is still doing the opposite. I can recall that the time Liberia, what we call the Georgia 11, the then president, Charles Gangitelo, through Louis Brown, come out fully to support the Lone Star. There are a lot of people talking about the Georgia 11, but they didn't know, they forgot to think about what the government did to make Lone Star to perform. I remember I had my newspaper, Malcolm Joseph, Isaac Sinowa here, the Sport Journal was actively performing. Chancellor put out millions of dollars to support the Lone Star. Then for every game, each of the Lone Star player collected $5,000 US. You can go and verify. That was to the extent the support of the national team by the government can spur, motivate the national players to be ready to die on the field. Now, I don't understand what is happening now. You're talking about $150,000 US for the national team, where you're talking about 20 to 30, 40 million. The areas that have been audited that were misused, EPS and one other institution. Then you can put out 5 million to the national team for starters. Then you have people squandering hundreds of millions. And they forget that when football is one of the easiest way you can create employment for the youth. Yes, employment. You can invest 20 million, 100 million US in football. When they get out, some of them will bring in, dividends, resources that will be worth 10 times more than what you have invested in them. Football is the fastest area people can become millionaires. Look at what's happening in Ghana and Nigeria. They're comparing Nigeria, Ghana, and others. You don't know how much these countries investing in football through the central government. Just recently, the Nigerian, the Minister for Sports traveled with the NFL president to different parts of Europe, searching for the best coach to be paid by the central government. They know to the extent Nigerians were ready to demonstrate for the poor results the Super Eagles were getting under a local coach. So the president ordered the sports minister to leave the country with the NFL president to go and search for the best coach in the world, whatever is the word. Then what are we doing here? That is, I want to conclude by saying that this is a calculated effort or attempt to discredit the Liberian Football Association president. To the extent that, I mean, you have two former presidents of LFA, Honorable Edwin Melvin Snow, Honorable Musa Bility, who during their time, particularly Edwin Melvin Snow, knew how far the president chancellor put it into football.
Okay.
That made him to succeed. The Musa Bility were crying for more millions to be invested. Now they went and sat supinely and said this kind of a pitiful budget for football.
Yeah.
It's a sad moment.
Okay, Ike, we got to hold you there because of time. Thanks a lot. We will have you back on so that we can talk more on these sporting issues confronting our country.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Okay, let's go to you. That's our Acosta Ike is a veteran. So go ahead, we are.
Look, Trojan, Mustafa Raji, I will hold him accountable. The reason I hold Mustafa accountable, Mustafa understands. Listen, if you drive a car from Freeport to Red Light, you need gas. With all gas, you can make that trip with that car. Simple. We need to find money. Mustafa need to tell the government, listen, we will not bring in any coach without the government putting up his salary ahead. So we need to go to a bank, or we the government sign a deal with LBDI, maybe how you call them, Eco Bank. Let's say we want you to pre-finance this coach salary. We'll bring in for 2 years for 10,000 per month. It's gonna be 240,000. We need to find that money. So at the end of the day, that is the first step. If we cannot find money, do not hire a foreign coach. If you hire the local coach, you know the price of a local coach and a foreign coach cannot be the same. Okay. If you want to do something, you need to save. Liberia, we're not saving. We're not thinking we fire Keita. Executive committee went together. They agreed, they voted, and they fired Keita. Boom. Now you need to pay Keita money. Now we need to look for money to pay Mario. So the government is just looking for what's going on. So we need to make a decision until we can find money, until we can develop a project. It shows you that Liberia lack a project, because if we're running a project based on 2 million, the government understands we're running this World Cup project for 2 million, the government start finding that money. Okay, right now we cannot find all, but we can bring in 60% that will cover 50% of this project before we get to the middle of this project, we find the rest of the money. You need to find money before you hire a coach. It's so simple. You hire someone and say looking for money to pay him. How? So Mustafa need to stand up and say, on the administration, if we will not bring in a foreign coach, we're not bringing a foreign coach, but we need to find money before we can hire a foreign coach. I think the government will start to understand from that. And from that point, we need some kind of drastic decision, and we need a brave person to do it.
Well, we wish we had a time to, talk further, but it seems like this discussion will be carried on. Until Friday. Hopefully, we hope to have folks from the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Liberia Football Association speaking to us on the development, because the ultimatum we are hearing has been given. What efforts have been made to sort of, mitigate the situation? So we hope to be speaking with them by Friday. We'll come out here. Either they come on or we tell you what they will tell us after we should have spoken to them. We tried today to speak with the minister. He certainly did not pick the call. We also tried the deputy. He promised to either call us back or we should call him, but it seemed like he was so busy. After we called back, we could not get him through. But of course, by Friday, hopefully, we will have their side to come and tell us exactly what is happening with Coach Mario's situation. But we'll just go around the table quickly, beginning with We Are Ephraim, so that we conclude on tonight's edition of the program.
Yeah, Trojan, thanks for the time, but a little bit confused. Before Liberia left for South Africa, the government spoke of some kind of money, and that money to get the physical cash, delay the national team for the day. So that money cover 1 month's salary or 2 months' salary. Ready to
I think 2 months.
2 months.
2 months. It covered 2 months.
So how many months Mario?
2 months.
2 months. Be paid for 2 months.
Yeah.
Remaining 2
So
months ahead.
in arrear now it's 2 months, and then he's also asking for an additional 2 months to be paid into his account.
Yeah, we got a man who can play Guinea Fidi after the game. I mean, I see you, man.
Even there's this saying, when snake bite you and you see Lesote, you have to run. So the guy know it took him forever long to get his money from the Liberian government. The FA paid 2 months off from before the government came and paid. So now coming back to Liberia, let me have 2 or 3 months in my account, then I can come and work. While we're talking, then I'll be talking about another 2 months. So if your employee or a contractor do not believe in you, do not trust you, will come up with these things, which is bad for Liberian football.
So, like Chris is saying, it boils down to the matter of trust, because he's asking for an additional 2 months according to what we get.
I can't do what I mean. I am Tina.
Thank you, Ephraim.
Thanks a lot, Ephraim. We are for, of course, always being here. He's one of our panelists. Thanks a lot for also viewing. Chris, of course, this weekend is going to be a very special weekend for him. We'll all be there to make sure that it begins and ends successfully. You know, we're going to come back here on Monday and tell you how it all went. And we're hoping some of you viewing will also be there. I'm inviting
so Josh
you.
Bow, former Liberian international, I think he's in Sweden or somewhere in Europe, writes saying, until we realize that football is a capital intensive, we will always be at the back of the line of the football.
Yeah, Josh Bow, you're right. And that's why we're having these discussions, so that we can find a solution. And so that's how we like to wrap it up. Thanks a lot for viewing. Sports Talk is regular on Intel Sports 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and of course, Fridays. It starts at 7, and of course, it ends at about this time. Again, Christopher Walker has been my co-host this evening. Thanks to Rufus Mulba. Thanks to Theo. They've both been here handling the technical aspect of this broadcast. Until we meet on Friday, I'm the real Ronaldo. On behalf of Sports Talk, bidding you a pleasant sporting good evening.